Hey everyone, this is Hiratanamai 2011. Welcome back to more Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. In the last episode, we got to the top of the Temple of Time, and we rescued the statue that we needed to progress. In this episode, we bashed gates open with a hammer! Yeah, so, in the last episode, we actually came across our first example of a Dark Nut, which I think is the first case of running into an enemy in this game that's just going to end up being a standard enemy later on. I'm not sure about that. I'll put something up if I'm wrong. But, yeah. Now that we have the statue, we can now progress further into the temple because we have to bring the statue back all the way down just so we can progress up to where we have to go for the mirror shard. But it's not that bad because the return trip is actually pretty easy. Because now that we have this statue, which, by the way, it actually goes ahead of you if you go on these stairs, and yeah, you're gonna have to do this because it's the only thing to go through this wall, and ow. Yeah, I said this in the previous part. You need the statue to go through the wall pretty much in order to, I mean, you have to have it go ahead of you because there's a lot of points like this where you can't progress, but the statue can. So, very interesting puzzle mechanic. It's kind of too bad that this is only used once and then sometime later in the game. But, yeah, at least it's an interesting concept, and I'm glad they thought of it. And, yeah, like I said, the, well, I guess that thing's invincible. A lot of the, traps and everything in this dungeon are now a joke now that we have this. Hell, you also remember the Beamos, right? How the only way to kill it is to hit it with the arrow? Yeah, these things will now go down in one hit with these armos. Check it out. Well, I'm not even sure this thing's an armos. I think it's just a statue. Well, as soon as I hit it. Yeah, there we go. That thing goes down in one hit, and it was actually hiding a switch, too. So I wonder what that switch is about. I'm sorry about this over here, but I'm just kind of wasting time, trying to kill these, Oh, we had to destroy it. Okay. Yeah, here's the thing. You have to make sure that you lift up platforms and everything and reveal switches that the platforms can walk on because, as you can see, the statue itself can't jump. So even though it follows your every move, it can't jump or anything. All it can do is walk and attack. So you have to make sure that this thing gets to its destination no matter what. So that's essentially the gimmick of the second half of the dungeon. So, in the meantime, since you guys already know what we have to do, I might as well continue off my tangent for Triforce Heroes. So, when I got the game and I saw the whole thing where, yeah, I tried killing that thing one more time and I failed. Sorry if I sound weird, by the way. It's December now and I kind of have a stuffy nose, so I'm sorry for me kind of rambling and everything. But, and plus, it's been a good while since I did some commentary, because the videos you all saw before, especially like Sonic, those were all recorded like a month in advance before I was sick or anything. So, also, by the way, if you see that red dot, that's essentially where the statue is to keep track of it. And yeah, the Goma respawned, so, excuse me for a minute while I, lay the statue down and I go downstairs to go do some pest control again. So again, I will be right back.
I want to seize power and control through a legion of spiders.
Okay, I'm back now that all the spiders are destroyed. I'm probably gonna have like a nostalgia period reference or something. So now that we have the Dominion Rod, we can also get down these other tiny statues. Which, by the way, if you actually decide to attack with these tiny statues, which they can't walk upstairs, if you decide to if you decide to attack these tiny statues, they actually do like a little Mario hump and. Mario Hump! Oh my god, I really can't speak. They actually do a little Mario hop, and it's actually really adorable. So, now that we have the Dominion Rod, we can bring down these tiny statues, pretty much, to weigh out the big statue. But the thing is, we also have to weigh ourselves out, because, you know, we count towards the scale, obviously. So, we have to make sure that the statue goes across. And this puzzle isn't that bad, but, it's a bit time-consuming. So, I'm just gonna go on my tangent again while we're doing this puzzle. So, like I said, with Triforce Heroes, I'll admit I was expecting a lot from the game because I usually expect a lot when it comes to Zelda. But, my god, it is a really fun game. like, extremely fun. And again, I love its music. Like, if anything, it kind of shares the same thing I feel with Sonic 06 in the sense that it's a bad game, but it has a great soundtrack. Yeah, with Triforce Heroes, I'm sorry, I honestly do want to classify it as a bad game. That its story, it can literally be summed up as this. Link goes to a different place in the world called Hytopia, which is run by fashion, and its princess is cursed to wear a bodysuit, pretty much, which she deems ugly. And he goes on an adventure to go break the curse so she can wear her princess outfit and look pretty, which, by the way, yeah, Styla is bae. But the story itself, it's just... what story? Like, literally, like, all you're doing is going into the Drablands, which is the name of the main areas in the game. You fight enemies and bosses. You fight this witch called the Lady, and that's it. Like, after you lift the curse and everything, there's nothing else after that. Literally, all that happens is that the Lady vanishes, and then the king's just like, oh, Styla isn't hurt, so I'm not going to be too upset. And that's it. I do like the idea that, you know, the other Links are apparently unknown heroes, which is what they're called pretty much in-game also if you don't have any friends and you choose to just team up with someone randomly online. But at the same time, they don't try to explain anything. And yeah, I know a lot of stuff in Zelda is left up to interpretation, with the exception of the stuff that's laid out, or the exception of the stuff that's listed in the Zelda timeline. But nothing is explained in the game. Where do these Links come from? What is Hytopia? What was with that guy that looked like Link's sprite from A Link to the Past at the beginning of the game? What are the Doppels? There's a dead Doppel at the beginning of the game, and you think it was going to be there for some deep meaning. Nope, it's just there for flavor text. And on top of that, too, it's like, after the story's finished, there's nothing. There's, like, no point of continuing to go back unless you just enjoy the game that much. I compare the game to an MMO, which, frankly, for Zelda, that's great. I'm really glad that they were able to make an MMO of this type, which, by the way, the Armos don't, the BMOs don't respawn for some reason. But, I'm really happy they were able to make an MMO, because for Zelda, that's a really cool thing. But the fact that there's no story for this game, no story for a Zelda game, no, like, flavor text, no world building, no nothing. And on top of that, too, it's like, the game is hard. Like, it's clearly meant for multiple people to play through. It has the same problem that, Kingdom Hearts 3 5 Over 2 Days goes through, where when you play through the single-player adventure, all the bosses and everything were designed for multiplayer. A lot of the bosses in the game, especially the lady's pets and the lady herself, are obnoxiously hard just because they were meant to be taken down by multiple people. And even then, it's still hard with multiple people. That's why I'm saying that also, the Doppel thing, it was pretty much thought as an afterthought. Yeah, you can play the game by yourself, but it's near impossible doing so. I wasn't even able to beat some of the stages with just by myself. And that really does suck that you need 3 people in order to play this game. Again, I need to point out Four Swords Adventures. Even Four Swords Adventures and Four Swords Anniversary, you didn't need 3 people. You could have just played the game on your own, and everything would have been just fine. But no, the fact that they force you to use multiplayer for this game is honestly something I think kills it. And also, while I do like the costumes and everything, I especially like the cheerleader outfit. Yeah, call me weird for liking Link looking like a woman. But here's the thing. Link bothers me in this game too, because a few days before the game was released, on Twitter, Nintendo of America said that the game is canon and it takes place shortly after A Link Between Worlds, at least a few years after it, where the reason why Link looks like he does is because he's disguising himself so that nobody will recognize him as the hero. Now, and that spike trap is freaking out over there, so I'm just gonna blow it up. Now this wouldn't be bad if they didn't mess up the art choice. I can understand reusing reusing the designs from Wind Waker and everything for the art style for this game, because Four Swords Adventures did that, where even though it's not in the Great Sea timeline, and by the way, we're back in this room again because there's actually another reward for us now that we have the Dominion Rod. Back in the Great Sea timeline, it makes sense. You know, it's fine for those games to still have the Wind Waker style of cartoony and everything. It was weird for Minish Cap, but I guess it was just so it'd be easier on the Game Boy Advance. But for this game, if it comes right after A Link Between Worlds, why are you using Toon Link? Like, at the beginning of the game, Link is wearing a different outfit and everything. And he has the same voice actor, which is fine, because something they established in Zelda, starting with Twilight Princess, is that if Link has a different voice, it's a different Link. And I do like that attention to detail. But the thing is, this Link, if this is years after A Link Between Worlds, say that Link in A Link Between Worlds was a child, so he was about 10 or 12. So at this point, he should be about the same age as the adult Links, like 16 or 19, 17 or 19. Why is he still a child? And again, you're using Toon Link as his design. You're not using A Link Between Worlds. While I will give this Link credit, he's the only one who's smart enough to keep his items from the previous game. I really love how you start off with the Pegasus boots right away. Jesus Christ! Like, the placement of this doesn't make sense. Honestly, here's our piece of heart, by the way. That's a reward for doing all this. Honestly, the fact that this game is canon is what bothers me the most. You can have a game have canon and not have a story, just because it's like, you know, nobody really cares. Like, yeah, it happens, but it just bothers me that you have it happen after a story-driven game. You have the canonicity of the game not make any sense, and on top of that too, it's not even the right art style. You're just using the Toon art style again, and that's really jarring after all the characters looked very anime after the last game. And I don't know. There's just a lot of things wrong with Triforce Heroes, which frankly, while it's a fun game, and like I said, it's a very MMO-ish game because it also has stuff like grinding and all that to go back to other levels to get stuff to make new costumes and all that. While I do like that part of it, I can't call it a good game just because it suffers the same thing as Sticker Star. The fact that it doesn't have a story honestly kills it. And these things respawn, so I'll be right back.
Oh, spiders! Spiders! Get them off me! Get them off me! Get them off me!
Wake up! It's me!
And we're back after we destroyed all the spiders again. You know, I go between a mix of calling things by their actual name and calling them by their, what they're based off of. Again, I'm sorry about my tangent for Triforce Heroes. I just want to find something to talk about while we're going through this, because the rest of this dungeon and...
Spiders! 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 Get off me! Get off me!
Yeah, I'm sorry about my tangent Triforce Heroes, but I'm trying to talk about stuff in the Temple of Time, because like I said, I kind of got all my thoughts on the Temple of Time out of the way already in the first part, and there's just not much to do now just because we're bringing this thing down, so it's kind of self-explanatory what we're doing. And I'm sorry, like, I just want to get that off my chest, because I hear everyone saying Triforce Heroes is a great game, and I do agree. But I remember having that argument with my brother, and I guess this Poe is just not even going to bother putting the fight. Wow, he must be really suicidal. I remember having an argument with my brother about, he says that, you know, story isn't everything. If the game's fun, that's all that should matter. And, yeah, I realized, by the way, you didn't have to destroy the gate. You could have just, brought down a, thing. But, yeah, as long as we have this thing that can break the gate, pretty much, I didn't want to even bother. By the way, if you do move too far away from the statue, the Dominion Rod does stop working, so the range isn't infinite. It's about the same amount of range you can do if you try to throw it normally. So, yes, gameplay is important. A lot of games suffer from having a good story but not having good gameplay. I still say that while Sonic 06 is a bad game, I did enjoy most of its story. I enjoyed Shadow, I enjoyed Silver, and I enjoyed Last. I just didn't enjoy Sonic's story. But for a Zelda game, especially in this day and age, to not have a story is just terrible. Even though Spirit Tracks is my favorite 2D game, I do criticize it for having the weakest story in the Zelda series, I'm sorry. Triforce Heroes easily beats it for having the weakest story, and the Armos respawn, but as you can see on the top floor, like I did last time, you can just destroy the Armos by just hitting it. Well, at least whacking it with the giant statue hammer, pretty much. So, we're coming up to a close on this dungeon, and like I said before, we kind of already spoke about all the stuff that's going on in this dungeon, you know, the theories behind it and why it's here. It's just kind of weird how Zant is able to put a piece of the mirror shard in the past, but then again, going back to not Triforce Heroes, goddamn. Back to Hyrule Warriors, how future Ganondorf is sealed within this within 2 sections of the past. Yeah, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief when it comes to Zelda, especially when it comes to time travel. Speaking of which, I keep saying Triforce Heroes. Hyrule Warriors Legends. Oh god, I'm looking forward to that game. I am so looking forward to it. And honestly, I kind of agree with everyone else on this. I'm really happy they included Linkel as a well, I know it's pronounced Linkle, but I'm just gonna say Linkel. I'm so glad they included Linkel as a new character because, like, when I saw that they were gonna include a female protagonist that was based off of Link, I was like, yay, that's really cool. And I was disappointed they didn't use her. I'm really glad they're finally using her because, oh my god, she looks so fun to play and she's so adorable. But yeah, I agree, the name's stupid. I've come up with a female protagonist before, at least a fan female protagonist for Zelda, which, honestly, this is gonna sound stupid because, you know, this is me talking about just, you know, my crappy, like, OCs, pretty much. But if I ever designed a female protagonist for Zelda, like, you know, a female counterpart to Link, it was this girl called Key, where it's you know, her name is spelled K-A-E-I, so it can still have like 4 letters, so it'll be like Link also. Because, you know, the whole point of Link being called Link is because he's linked between the player and the game world. So Key would be, you know, the key between the player and the game world, pretty much. And, you know, I just thought that would be a cool idea. I even drew her for I even drew like 2 variations of her, like one for like Ocarina of Time with the female protagonist option, and one for my own series, which I'm gonna put on screen. And, you know, I'm sorry for like advertising it, but like I just thought of that. Like, I'm really glad Zelda now has a female protagonist, even if Hyrule Warriors is considered a spin-off. But, you know, I'm just really happy we finally do have a female protagonist. And even though Hyrule Warriors is a spin-off, and most likely its characters are going to stay within its own series, I hope Linkel or something makes an appearance in the future because, again, I love the idea of Zelda having a female protagonist. Like, maybe like in a future game, like instead of playing as Link, we can have the option of having Linkel as like a different option or something. So anyway, we're up to the boss door, and thank God I had the tangent. This boss coming up is actually not that bad, but honestly, this is another boss I say on the Wii version. Me personally, I found this boss more obnoxious on the Wii version just because aiming with the arrow, I'm sorry, everyone praises aiming with the arrow in the Wii version is glorious. I hate it. But I'm going to be quiet because cutscene. This is Armagoma. Like I said before, this thing shows up in the tech demo for the Wii U the Wii U tech demo for Zelda, and it also shows up technically in the beta for Twilight Princess chasing Link through a forest. It's the only Goma that actually looks like a spider, but its boss is pretty easy. All you have to do is wait for it to open up its eye and lure it over to one of these things and hit it with the Dominion Rod, pretty much. Be careful because once it gets up, its legs do hurt you, and it will purposely try to run you over this way. The second phase isn't that bad either, it just summons the tiny spiders to come after you, which, yeah, this thing gives birth on the battlefield. I guess Armagoma is a mother? The funny thing is, if you remember when we went to the previous dungeon, when Yetta became Blizzetta. Apparently, according to Midna and according to the game's notes, Armagoma is pretty much a regular Goma that got turned into this because of the Twilight Mirror. And it's also one of the only monsters to not appear again in the Zelda series, as strange as that is, because the boss that's coming up next actually shows up in the Zelda... Oh, God. The boss that's coming up in the next dungeon actually appears in Hyrule Warriors, which I was really surprised about. And also, you know, Phantom Ganon and the Harmon Rock King from Wind Waker showing up in Hyrule Warriors Legend. So again, hype. So the third phase is actually easier than the second one because there's not a cutscene that lets these things spawn, so you can just go over and have your way with these spiders. Wow, I should have rephrased that. I'm not an arachnophilic. So you go over and you can destroy these things because since there's no cutscene, you're free to do whatever you please. So just go over and hit its eye, and then you should be done. If you don't get it in time, it hits you with a laser beam, but you shouldn't really worry about that.
But wait! There's more!
Yeah, surprise phase 2. Like an idiot, I'm trying to go over to it and hit it with my sword, but really, all it takes is 3 arrow strikes and you've defeated it. That's Armagoma's true form, and I love how Link takes out his sword and the game lags, pretty much. But we got our second shard of the mirror, technically third because we had 2 shards already. Three of the mirror shards are ours. Just one left. Link. You saw how nasty that monster was, right? The evil within the shards is more powerful than you can imagine. You know, we could truly be assembling something truly terrible here. It could be something we'll ultimately have to destroy. We have to hurry. Let's find the last shard, Link. You have to reach the sky. That's where the last shard is supposed to be. So, now that we've beaten Armagoma, the funny thing is you can actually go up to the statues, still use them, and they'll hurt you if you use them again. But we have nothing left to do, so on the next episode of Twilight Princess, I guess we star our way towards the sky. See you guys then.